Hello, my dear viewers. This amazing story will be very instructive for you. It is very interesting and beautiful. I wish you enjoy watching it.
I'll get it. I'll get it. Who's so impatient? The guy had a hard time getting out of bed and pulling up his pants. He couldn't get into his pants, and there was banging on the door. By the sounds of it, it sounded like it was being kicked. He staggered to the door and went to open it. His head was still buzzing and dizzy from last night. How much had he had to drink? Probably a lot. A man burst into the apartment, short, with big bald spots and a round belly. "Billy, what are you looking like? The concert's in an hour. Relax, it's coming up." Billy went over to the bed and pulled off the blanket the girl was lying under. "Hey, what's your name? You need to leave." The girl was embarrassed to get up. She was wearing nothing but her beads. He turned away. Only then she jumped off the bed and quickly got dressed at the speed of light. "I like it when girls get undressed and dress fast." The guy laughed out loud. "Billy, I'll see you again, won't I?" "Sure," answered Billy, closing the door behind the girl. "So who is she?" "Who? That one? Do I know her? I picked her up last night after the concert." "Okay, I'm going to take a shower. I'll be ready in 15 minutes. He went into the bathroom and the water was running. Billy was a star, the lead singer of a band he'd put together in high school. He had good vocal skills, and he'd been to music school. He also wrote his own lyrics. When he finished the 11th grade, he and his band recorded some of his songs on a disc and sent them to everyone they could. That's how the CD got to Harry, an up-and-coming producer. He listened to the disc and liked it. So Harry went after these guys, and it was a good fit. They had good vocal data and a perfect ear, and they had good looks. That's why the girls squealed with delight when Billy came on stage. Uncomplicated lyrics of love songs and a rousing melody, and the more annoying, the better. That's what young people needed. For the first year, their songs were heavily played on all radio waves. A year later, when the first concert took place, the tickets were sold out in the first hour. Then the first female fans appeared, who considered it a happiness to touch their idol. At first, Billy was shy. He signed autographs and let them touch his hand, but then he got carried away. After every concert, he'd go home with another groupie. He liked to pick them out. Like he said, like picking them out at the store. You want dark, you want light, thin, fat, tall, small, older, younger. Any variation. And sometimes he'd take two at once. The more his popularity grew, the more he got into all sorts of trouble. He could miss a rehearsal because he'd had too much to drink the night before. He even did drugs. Harry didn't know how to fight him anymore. He'd already seen that an artist burns out very quickly with that kind of lifestyle. "Okay, Harry, I'm ready. Let's go, on mine." Harry put his hands up like he was giving up. It was easier to agree with Billy than to prove otherwise. Harry and Billy walked down to the covered parking lot where his brand new car was parked. "What do you think?" "It's a nice car. How much is it worth?" "I'm not telling you. You'll be jealous." "Ha ha ha." Harry pursed his lips. That sounded offensive, but he was used to his protagonist's antics. The concert ended to the squeals of the fans. Autographs again, and a new trophy. This time he was attracted to a girl with funny pigtails and freckles on her nose. All right, beautiful girls, I love you all. And you're coming with me today." The girl lit up like she'd won $1 million. Billy put her in his car and drove off. The girl didn't know how to act or what to say. The guy, looking at her frankly, drove the car in silence, and the girl started talking. "Oh, I never dreamed. You're the best, and what a voice you have. The girls and I know all your songs by heart." "Yeah." "Shut up." Billy interrupted her. The girl shut up and drove the rest of the way in silence. He brought her home. "What are you drinking?" "I don't drink at all." Billy looked at her in surprise, but then continued pouring alcohol into his glass. "Well, then get undressed and get in the shower." I wanted to say, "I'm still." "Ha ha ha. That's great." And in the middle of the night, he got a phone call. "Hello, Billy. It's the neighbor, Aunt Maria. Mom's not feeling well. I'll be right over." Billy jumped up and began to dress quickly. He'd forgotten there was a girl sleeping in his bed. He had been living apart from his mom for a long time. bought an apartment as soon as his fees allowed it, but he never left his mom. He paid for everything for her. He renovated her apartment. He paid for it. Clothes, food, money, whatever she wanted. Only he didn't show up much. Couldn't find the time among the concerts, rehearsals, and meetings with groupies. Billy got into his car and stepped on the gas. Speeding through the city at night was easy. There were hardly any cars. 15 minutes later, he was across town at his mother's house. "Ma, what's wrong?" The guy jumped up to his mother, who was lying pale on the couch in the living room, and knelt down beside her. "Yes, everything is all right. It's just a little heart palpitations. I can see how it's a little bit. Did you call an ambulance? Should we call a paid one?" "Why would you do that? There are good doctors in the ER too." Billy was very worried about his mother. It was written all over his face. The doorbell rang and Billy went to open it. A 3-man ambulance. Cardiograph, the usual orange case. They started examining him. Billy stood back and stayed out of the way. "All right, let's get ready. We're going to the hospital." "Doctor, do we have to do this? Why don't I just stay home?" That's when Billy stepped up. "Mom, what bed rest?" "Doctor, take her to a good hospital." And he slipped some orange bills into the older man's pocket. The doctor didn't object, neither the clinic nor the bills. An ambulance with lights and sirens raced through the night city with Billy following. Mom was taken to the best paid clinic in town. After processing and paying for their services, Billy went home. They wouldn't let him see his mom anyway. The doctor said she was going to be put in the intensive care unit. Now he had nowhere to hurry and drove quietly, not even breaking the traffic rules. Morning was slowly coming to the city. The sun began to rise and peek through the gap between the skyscrapers. Suddenly, a shadow flashed in front of his car, and he felt that he had hit someone. Billy hit the brake hard and got out. There was a woman lying on the pavement behind him. "What the hell?" Billy swore. "Why don't you look where you're going?" "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." She sat up and looked at her shattered knees and palms. Apparently, it was a tangential blow. "I'm coming from work. I'm tired. My eyes are droopy." "You should put them at home on a pillow, not on the road." Fairly said the guy. "Let me take you to the hospital." "Oh, no, don't. I need to go home. I'll just sit here for a while. She'll be fine. Come on, I'll take you home." He helped the girl up and put her in his car. He shut the door and went over to look at the damage to the car. A small scratch and a dent in the fender. He got behind the wheel and asked, "So where do you want me to take you?" The girl gave me an address. It wasn't close, to say the least. Billy even whistled, started the car and started up. "You're a long way from home. I told you, I'm coming from work." "What kind of work is it that ends at 5 in the morning?" The girl didn't say anything. "What's your name?" "Ariana. What's yours?" Billy looked at the girl in surprise. Did she really not recognize him, or was she faking it? Billy. And he watched her reaction for a few moments. There was no reaction. It hurt him a little, but he tried not to make a big deal of it. Finally, they pulled up to Ariana's house. "Thanks for the ride. Do you want me to walk you home?" "No. Thanks. I'll do it myself." Ariana got out of the car and headed for the door. But before she got a couple steps, she collapsed on the ground. Billy jumped out and flew over to her. "Let me give you a hand. I feel a little dizzy." He helped her up and held her to the door. "Should we call an ambulance? Or should I take her to the hospital?" No. I have to go home." The stairs were too narrow for the two of them, so Billy took Ariana in his arms and with her feeble resistance, carried her. He let go only when he reached the apartment, which was fortunately on the second floor. "Come in." Ariana invited him in. Billy crossed the threshold of a very ordinary dormitory. It was the same one his mom had lived in. It was freshly repaired and clean. The girl looked into the room, closed the door slowly, and putting her index finger to her lips, nodded and invited him into the kitchen. "Do you want tea? Coffee, if that's okay." Ariana nodded and pulled a glass jar of instant coffee from the shelf. Nescafe was written on the can. Billy was already used to this kind of coffee, so the taste seemed, to him, not so good. Ariana poured herself a cup of tea and sat back in her chair. "You look pale. Shouldn't I see a doctor?" "No, I'm better now. I'll have some tea and you'll be fine. Could you get me the first aid kit from the bathroom? It's in the cupboard above the washing machine. Who does she think she is? He said to himself and pressed the pedal. The car took off sharply. Billy continued to live his normal life. Rehearsals, concerts, recording a new album, shooting a music video, crowds of fans who watched him wherever he appeared. 2 months passed. The video for the new song was filmed and was playing on all music channels. The band decided to celebrate the successful premiere of the clip by going to a club. And the club chosen was Leopold. Nobody paid attention to Billy's weak resistance. All this time, he didn't even remember the strange girl who fell under his wheels. And now he sees her again, behind the bar. Hey, Billy, you got a thing for that bartender. You've been eyeing her all night. I just thought I'd seen her somewhere before. Yeah, I've seen her. Probably in my bunk. Ha 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 ha. The guys are laughing. Get out of here. Billy got up and went to the bar. What are you drinking? Don't you recognize me? Should I? I'm Billy. Hey, hi. I really didn't recognize you. You must be rich. Billy smiled. So can I get you a drink? A cocktail of your choice. He enjoyed watching her work. How's your daughter? Who's she with? She's alone right now. Her neighbor's putting her to bed. Aren't you afraid to leave her alone? What can I do? I have to work. The pay is good here. It's enough for us to live on and for me to pay the mortgage. I see. Is there someplace we can talk, somewhere quieter? I'm on break in 15 minutes. Let's talk. He could see his musicians laughing at him, and he could guess what they were talking about, but he didn't care. There was something about Ariana that attracted him. There was something about her that attracted him. I'm free. Let's go up to the second floor where it's quieter. Billy nodded and followed the girl, admiring her rear view. It was indeed quieter on the second floor. They sat down at a table. A waitress came running up. What can I get you? Just coffee. I have to work all night. Billy placed his order and the waitress went to take it. What did you want to talk to me about? Tell me about yourself. How come you're single with a kid, paying a mortgage and bartending at a nightclub? Are you really interested? Billy nodded. At that moment, a waitress came over with a tray. I beg your pardon, aren't you Billy? The lead singer of the Heart Snatchers. Yes. Can I have your autograph? My girlfriends and I just love your songs. Billy smiled and signed the girl's name on a napkin. She ran off happily. You're a famous person, aren't you? A little bit. Like you didn't recognize me. Ariana shook her head. I don't listen to that kind of music. That hurt Billy's ego. What kind of music do you listen to? Jazz. Billy nodded respectfully. Why don't you give me your phone number? What do you need it for? I could call you, invite you to a jazz night. I'm not sure I'd do that. Why not? You don't like me at all? Wait, are you trying to woo me? Well, why not? I think you've had too much to drink. What makes you think that? Look at me. I'm at least 5 years older than you. I have a kid, and I'm not in the mood for easy relationships. I'm not in the mood for anything. Okay, bye. I gotta get back to work. Go back to your girls. Ariana jumped out of her seat and headed for the stairs. Billy hurriedly wrote his number on a napkin and ran after her. Ariana, here's my number. Why do I need it? In case you need help. I can do more than sing. Ariana took the napkin, put it in her pocket, and went to work. That's weird. I don't bite. Billy went back to his friends. He was leaving the club in the company of another girl of the lightest behavior who would do anything for an autograph. Billy waited frankly for a call from Ariana, but she didn't call. And at some point, he stopped waiting. They were getting ready to tour. The producer kept nagging him. One thing wasn't ready, another. And then, late one night, the phone rings again. Billy wasn't alone. He was relaxing in the arms of another groupie. Hello, Harry, have you got a conscience? It's that time already. But it wasn't the producer's voice that answered. Sorry, I'm late. Billy jumped up on the bed. Ariana, good to hear from you. You said if you needed help, I'll be right there. Billy got up and started dressing quickly. You're going to have to leave. He threw to the girl, who covered herself with a sheet and lay on his bed. But, you heard me. I have to leave right away. We'll see each other again. We will. He shoved the half-naked girl out the door. not even bothering to give her money for a cab or offer her a ride, and raced across the night city to Ariana's house. Her daughter opened the door. "Hey, where's Mom?" In there." Ariana found herself in the bathroom. She was soaking wet and was wiping the water off the floor, and it kept coming. "What's wrong?" "You see, the pipe burst." Billy looked in the tub, but the faucet wasn't there. His mom lived in the same house, so he knew the approximate location of where to shut off the water. He went back. He took a good look at the pipe. "You could put a clamp here. Won't last long, or we have to change the pipe, but that requires welding. Can you put a clamp on it?" "If you have one." "No. Then I'll have to buy one." "But the stores are all closed, right?" "Not all of them. I'll be right back." "I'll get some and I'll be right back." 20 minutes later, Billy was patching the pipe with his shirt off. "Thank you." "You're welcome. You're welcome." "Tea?" "I wouldn't say no. I'm sorry I pulled you out in the middle of the night, but I had no one else to turn to. Now I owe you one." "I'm glad. Now you'll definitely go to jazz night with me. Only after I get back." "From where?" "I'm going on tour the day after tomorrow, for 3 months." Ariana nodded understandingly. "That's good, we'll go." Billy walked away from Ariana's with a sense of victory, a small victory, but a victory. He drove home in a good mood. Billy's been touring. A week in one city, a week in another. Hotels, concerts, fans waiting for their van. They always knew within a meter where the band was going. The guys never changed their lifestyle. There was always someone to choose from, except Billy was starting to get bored with it all. After signing autographs and taking selfies with female fans, he often went back to his room alone, laid down on the huge bed and dialed Ariana's number. She didn't always pick up. But when she did, the conversation was over quickly. She was always busy. And she never called back. Billy would freak out. Who the hell is she? Who does she think she is? She's a fucking queen. But the next day, he dialed her number again. During the day, he slept till almost lunchtime, and he'd get very angry when the maid knocked on the door. He could yell at her for no reason. He'd yell at the waiter if he took too long to bring food. He'd yell at his musicians. But they were used to the antics of their lead singer and leader, so they didn't pay any attention to him. And neither did Harry. "Hey, Billy, cut it out," they said. "Save it for the girls. And here's the last city, the last concert. It's a few hours before we leave." Billy always went shopping before he left, bought his mom a little something for her. Something that could only be bought here. This day was no exception. He put on a hooded sweatshirt, sunglasses halfway down his face, and went wandering around the mall. Billy had already bought gifts for his mother, but passing by a children's store, he saw a big, beautiful doll in the window. He couldn't resist buying it for his daughter, Ariana, and I didn't leave her without a present. A small silver pendant on a thin chain. Why not gold? I was afraid she'd refuse to take it, but it was worthy of attention. Just a few hours in business class, and here they are going down the airplane ramp. And at the airport, they're again mobbed by groupies. Billy made his way through them and went straight to his mother with the flowers. Mom was so happy. She thanked her son for the gifts, fed him a home-cooked meal. "Son, why don't you stay? I'm tired after the flight and driving again, and I haven't eaten anything. I was at the stove all day yesterday." "Mom, I won't be long. I'm going to visit someone. I'll be back. You don't even have to clear the table." "All right." Billy was on his way to Ariana's, flying through red lights and breaking all the rules. He couldn't wait to see her. When he was just a short distance from Ariana's house, he was pulled over by a traffic cop. Senior Lieutenant Sadenko. "We're in violation." One of them called out. "Hey, Commander, can we make a deal? I'm in a hurry to see a girl. You offer a bribe to an official or..." He stopped half a word, scrutinizing the guy. "Wait, and you are this, from the Heart Snatchers? Yada, 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 something about your eyes." "That's right, Comrade Senior Lieutenant." Billy looked closely to read the officer's name on his badge. "C. Sidenko. Can I have your autograph? My wife loves your songs." "Sure. License?" "Oh yeah, here." Sidenko gave Billy his license back. Billy took the calendar with his picture on it out of the glove compartment, took a pen from the inspector, signed it, and handed it over. The inspector saluted again and with a broad smile wished him a safe trip. Billy pressed the pedal to the floor again. He bought flowers at a small store near Ariana's house and laden with packages, went to her house. Ariana opened the door. "Billy, what are you doing here?" "Out here. I'm back. These are for you." He handed her the flowers. You could see in his eyes that Ariana was pleased. She nuzzled her nose into the bouquet and sniffed them. "Thank you. Come in. Do you want tea?" Ariana's daughter ran out of the room. Billy squatted down in front of her. "Hi, I'm Billy. What's your name?" "Julia." The little girl giggled and hid behind her mother. "And I brought you something." And he took out of the bag a box with a doll, which was a little smaller than the girl. Julia's mouth dropped open in delight, and she grabbed the box with both hands. "Billy, why? It's crazy expensive." "Yes, I hadn't noticed. I got a present for you too." Billy pulled a velvet box with a pendant out of his pocket. "What is it? What's it for?" "No reason. I wanted to do something nice for you." "I'm not taking it." "Why not?" "You don't understand." "Honestly? No, what's the big deal?" Or, you don't like that it's silver?" "Billy, I don't want to accept gifts from you. There is nothing between us and there can't be, except friendship." "Ariana, I'm not claiming anything. It's just a gift. A friendly one, if you like." "Friendly, huh?" "Yes." Ariana took the pendant out of the box and put it around her neck. She could tell she liked it, but she tried not to show it. "You like it? Well, it's nothing special. Shall we take it?" Julia stepped in. Mom, take it. I like it." Billy laughed and winked at the girl. Ariana smiled, put the pendant back in the box, and put the box on the shelf near the mirror in the hallway. A little later, the three of them were sitting in the kitchen drinking tea. "Ariana," suddenly Billy asked the question that had been on his mind for a long time. "Where is Julia's dad?" Ariana's face changed immediately. Her eyes filled with anger. "Billy, I think it's time for you to go. If you don't want to talk, don't talk. You should go." "Ariana, I told you to leave." Billy got up and literally ran out of the apartment, remembering to slam the door. What the hell is she making of herself? Billy said to himself as he got behind the wheel, "She's a fucking naughty girl. I didn't say anything. And she me out the door. S*****. He started the car and flew through the evening city back to his mother. Mom immediately noticed the change in her son's mood. "Billy, is something wrong? Are you in some kind of trouble?" "Mom, I'm fine. I should probably go." "Son, you wanted to stay, didn't you?" "I've got an early rehearsal tomorrow. I don't want to wake you up." So Billy went home. Outside the front door of his house, a bunch of groupies were waiting for their idol. He picked one of them out and brought her to this place. He was in a bad mood. "Get undressed. Shower's over there. Don't throw your clothes around." Yes, I'll be right there." The girl quickly undressed and went into the shower. Billy wrinkled his nose. She disgusted him. He waited for her to get out of the shower and sent her home. "But why? Did I do something wrong? Do you have any pride? If I made you undress on the landing and then come in, would you obey?" "I'd do anything for you. I love you. I'll do anything you tell me to do." "Aya." Billy wrinkled his nose again and closed the door behind her. Lying down on his empty bed, he stared up at the ceiling. But what eyes she has after all. Suddenly, he jumped up and ran over to his laptop and pounded on the keys. His fingers flew quickly over the keyboard, making words out of letters that would make a new song. He stayed up practically all night, and in the morning he had a new song ready. And that night at rehearsal, Billy showed it to his musicians. "Billy, did Harry see this? That's not our format. Guys, let's give it a try. Let's just take the tempo a little faster and try an allegro first." By the time Harry got to the rehearsal, the boys had almost found the right tempo. "What's the lyric here? Let's try it for a change though." And only Billy knew who he was dedicating the song to. And that weekend, he invited Ariana to a jazz night. She was dressed in a beautiful dress, and she wore a necklace around her neck. The evening was at a music cafe. Ariana enjoyed it very much, and she even gave Billy a chance to groom herself. Then they walked down the street, through the public garden that adjoined this cafe. The girl walked cheerfully, laughing at Billy's jokes. She even let Billy put his arm around her and kissed her. Then they got into the car. Ariane, let's go to my place. No, I have to go home. Julia's alone there. Okay, let's go to your place. And as they reached the driveway, Ariana turned around and said, Billy, thank you for a wonderful evening. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we can do it again sometime. Yeah, that would be nice. But you should go now. What do you mean? It's a long time. You should go home. Billy came close to Ariana and wanted to kiss her. What's the matter with you? The time is still young. I demand to continue the banquet. Ariana skillfully dodged Billy's lips. Billy, I'm not kidding. It's time for you to go. Oh my God, what's the matter? Everything was fine just now. No offense. It's not you, it's me. I'm not ready. Well, maybe you can share it with me. Some other time. Aya, bye. And she skipped down the driveway. And Billy got behind the wheel and started pounding it with his hands. Shit, 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 shit. What's the matter with you? I'd love to be in your shoes and you're like some other time. What if I freak out and there's no next time? Billy started his new car and drove home. Today, his only desire was to kill someone. Billy hadn't called Ariana in days. He didn't know if he was mad at her or just wanted to check up on her. But after 2 days, he started cracking up like a junkie. Billy would pick up his cell phone, dial Ariana's number, and then dump it. And he'd get mad at everyone and everything. Billy, what the hell is wrong with you? You're bleeding like a sheep. We got a concert coming up. We're sold out. Are you in love? Yeah, with you. Yeah, Harry, it's gonna be fine. Fine, I don't want it to be fine. I need it to be perfect. So I'm canceling rehearsal today and giving you the day off tomorrow. You're going home, you're taking control of yourself. But the day after tomorrow, I want the same old Billy at rehearsal. Got it? Billy nodded. His eyes were shooting lightning bolts. He drove straight to the bar, ordered a drink. A girl sat down next to him. Billy sized her up. She was all right, average, as he always said. Can I buy you a drink? I wouldn't say no. One thing led to another. Billy took her back to this place. Then he had the nerve to ask, What's your name? Ariana. Kabak? Ariana, I heard you, not deaf. I think it's time for you to go. But how can I? Go away. The mood's gone. But I said get out. The girl pulled on her dress and walked out the door, and Billy dialed the number. To his surprise, Ariana answered the phone almost immediately. Hi. Hi, I haven't called in a while. I didn't think you'd notice. What's up with you? Nothing. Are you hurt? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You didn't. Tell me, what's wrong with me? I come at you this way and that way. You don't care. What kind of goat am I supposed to drive up to you? Don't yell at me. I'm not yelling. If you don't like me, just say so. You like me. What? But you and I are very different. You're used to living large, doing everything you want. I'm a cheapskate. How much? How much what? How much money do you need? That's not what I mean. I don't need your money. I'm older than you. I have a daughter. I work as a bartender in a nightclub. And you're a star. You got tons of groupies. No, Billy, we're too different. We shouldn't see each other anymore. Billy sobered up immediately. Ariana, no, wait, how? Didn't you say we could be friends? But you need more, don't you? I don't understand why. You're so full of girls. Why do you need me? You're better than all of them put together. Are you in love? And if I am, what? Billy, get it out of your head. Again, we're too different. Billy swallowed the lump that suddenly came to his throat. Ariana, okay, Billy, I told you everything. Goodbye, and don't call me again. Ariana disconnected, and Billy continued to yell into the phone. Ariana, wait, no, don't. The phone went silent. Billy roared and threw his phone at the wall, even though he knew it had nothing to do with the phone. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Who does she think she is? He stood up and walked over to his phone. Surprisingly, it was almost unscathed. The screen was intact, only slightly cracked. He dialed Ariana's number again. The caller's phone is turned off or out of range. He just needed someone to talk to. He didn't want to be alone. Billy went to his mother's house and scared her off. "Billy, what's the matter? What are you doing out in the middle of the night? Have you been drinking?" "Mom, I'm so sleepy." Mom made a bed for him in his room. Billy undressed and lay down. "Mom, sit with me." Mom sat next to him. "Mom, did you love Dad?" "Of course I did. He and I were soulmates for 15 years. He was younger than you, wasn't he?" "Yes, but not by much." "Why do you ask?" "No reason. Why didn't you remarry?" "You see, I'm a one-woman man. I don't need anyone else." "Tell me, what should I do?" "I went to her all over, and she told me not to call her anymore." "What's wrong with me?" "Who is she?" "I can't live without her eyes. I dream about them every night. And her voice is magical. Is that what she wants?" Mom didn't answer. She realized her son needed to talk. "She be beautiful, but she's not, and she doesn't want me. She sent me away." "Did you think you could own everyone? It can't be like that. If you like a girl, woo her, win her over. But don't go for it like you used to, but slowly." "But I'm already." "That's not enough. Don't be in a hurry. Be a friend first. Maybe she's a one-woman man like you. Maybe she still loves the father of her child. That's why she won't tell me anything about him. Don't ask. When the time comes, she'll tell you herself. Be patient if you really like her that much." "Yeah, Mom, thanks." Billy turned away and sniffled. Mom adjusted the blanket and went out. In the morning, she didn't wake her son, so she let him sleep. And Billy slept until almost lunchtime. He always took a long nap at Mommy's house. "Billy, sit down to eat." "Oh, Mom, I don't want to. I'll go. I'm sorry to drop in on you in the middle of the night." "Son, this is your house too. What better place to come than here when it's bad? Come here, night or day." Billy came over and hugged his mom. "Thank you. I went to the store and got a cake. My first impulse was to buy flowers, but then I changed my mind." Ariana opened the door sleepy. "You again, I told you everything. Let's have tea and cake." "Why don't you have tea and cake at home?" "Julia, do you want cake?" Billy shouted with a smile on his face, looking Ariana in the eye. The girl ran out into the hallway and saw Billy. "Uncle Billy, let's go show you the dollhouse I made." She grabbed Billy's hand and pulled him with her. Billy gave Ariana a tongue lashing. She laughed and shook her head, followed her daughter and her guest. Julia showed Billy her new doll in her house, which she had made out of sheets and blankets and thrown over some chairs. Billy climbed in there on all fours, sat on Turkish, and played with the girl. She fed him toy food and drank tea from little doll cups. Ariana climbed up to them from time to time, but she didn't have enough room and climbed back out and did her chores. "Hey, come on, that's enough. Let's go to lunch." She sat Billy down at the table and placed a bowl of soup in front of him. To his feeble protest, she said that Julia wouldn't eat without it now. Then they drank tea and ate cake. "Billy, don't you have somewhere to be? It's my day off. Listen, it's delicious." Ariana smiled embarrassedly. It felt good. "You're going to have to leave now. I have to work in an hour. I don't want the neighbor to see you. You'll get gossip. If you want, I'll drive you. I'll wait outside." Ariana nodded, and Billy was cheering inside. "Uncle Billy, will you come again?" "Julia, I will. Do you want me and you to go to the Children's Entertainment Center next time?" "Yes. Can we take Mom with us? If she behaves herself." Billy winked at the girl. "Yeah, yay." Ariana left the house half an hour later. Billy had been sitting in nervous tension the whole time and was very happy when the girl appeared from the doorway. She got into the car. "Let's go?" Ariana nodded. "Billy, tell me, why are you doing all this?" "Doing what?" "You know, like this." "I don't know what you mean. I just want to be your friend, that's all." Julia's okay with it, by the way. "Ariana, I like you a lot, if not more, but if you don't want more, let's just be friends. Just let me be there for you." Ariana was silent. She turned away and stared out the window. "Ariana, I won't claim more than that, honestly." "Okay, Billy, but only as friends." "I swear." Billy raised his right hand, placing his left over his heart. The girl smiled. Okay, come on. Let's give it a try. See you later then. I'll see you later. When's your day off? Billy, you promised me. Well, I promised Julia. Hey, you mean this? I can take it any day. Great. I can't this week. I have a gig next weekend. Rehearsals are in a row. How about next Sunday? Ariana shrugged and got out of the car. I'll call you later. Slammed the door and walked to her club. ESSSSSS, exclaimed Billy and pressed the pedal. At last his mood improved, and there was hope. He wasn't used to backing down, and he always got his way. And in Ariana's case, he was sure of victory. A little over a week passed. All this week, Billy was in a great mood. On the eve of the concert, he arranged a meeting with Ariana. Julia was happy. Her mother didn't often take her to places like this. This place had everything to make a 5-year-old happy. Swings, merry-go-rounds, trampoline center, children's bowling, rope maze. But Julia was most excited about the electric cars. She rode them 5 times, both with Billy and Ariana, and even alone. After the fun, all 3 of them were hungry and went to the nearest fast food place. Julia did the ordering, and Billy and Ariana just laughed at her and agreed. In the middle of their snack, a girl approached them. Hi, my friend and I had a bet. You're Billy, right? The lead singer of the Heart Snatchers. Billy looked from the girls to Ariana to Julia, saw Ariana's smile become strained, then looked at the girls again. No, girls, you're wrong. This was the first time he'd ever said that. He used to enjoy signing autographs and taking selfies with female fans. Now he didn't want to take his eyes off Ariana and her daughter and ruin their evening. I'm sorry, but you look so much alike. I know you do. A lot of people tell me that. The girls are gone. Why did you lie? I'm all yours tonight. Can we go to a movie later? Yes, Julia screamed. Yes, replied Ariana. They returned home when it was beginning to get dark outside the window. Julia, having run around and played, fell asleep in the car. Asleep. Billy, thank you for this day. Julia really enjoyed it. Did you? Ariana lowered her eyes. Me too. Would you mind helping me take Julia home? Sure. Billy took the girl in his arms, Ariana walking ahead and opening the doors in front of him. He very gently placed her on the bed and turned to leave. Billy, thank you again. Ariana, thank you so much for tonight. I haven't had such a good time in a long time. I didn't think you could be like this. Like what? Like this tonight. I thought I was always like this. Ariana shook her head. No, not always. And you know what? She suddenly reached up and kissed him on the lips. Let's try again, shall we? Billy's face broke into a smile. Yeah, sure. He reached up to kiss Ariana, but she stopped him with her hand. Call me. Bye. Ariana kissed his cheek goodbye. Good night. And Billy went outside. At that moment, he felt like he had won the lottery. Yes, yes, yes. Billy went home and slept alone in his cold bed again. He didn't even want to think about other girls tonight, as he had for the past week. All his thoughts were occupied only with Ariana. It was the first time he had ever really fallen in love. Billy began to court Ariana. It was new to him. He'd never had to do it before. Ever since high school, girls had been hitting on him. He formed his band in 8th grade, and everyone wanted to join them for rehearsals. On school nights, the guys sang their then still naive songs, and their classmates all loved them. All Billy had to do was flick his finger in the direction of the one he liked, but his heart remained cold. Then the band's popularity took over. Now it was easy, didn't even have to bother his fingers. And then there was Ariana. Ever since they'd first met, thoughts of her had haunted him. Her eyes, the way she turned her head, the way she fixed her hair. He'd showered Julia with gifts. He loved to see how a simple chocolate bar delighted the spoiled girl. Like his mother had advised, Billy took his time. He waited, but letting Aliena kiss him was progress. He took her to the most romantic places he could think of. To get things right, the counselor was Harry, who had been happily married for 20 years and was like a father to Billy. It had been 2 months of weekly dates and daily phone calls. Ariana, I'm going away for 3 days. It's city day, and I'm going to do some outdoor shows. I'll text you when I get back. Kisses, I miss you." 3 days later, Billy didn't call. Ariana was worried. At first, the phone was unavailable. Then it beeped, but he didn't pick up. But he sent a message. "Ariana, I'm sorry. I lost my voice. I can't talk. When I feel better, I'll call you." Ariana was worried. "Are you home?" "Yes, 2 days in the hospital. Now I'm home." "Am I coming over?" Billy didn't answer for a while. The girl even thought he didn't want her to come. "Yeah, come on over. I'm waiting. Cab's on its way to pick you up. It's paid for." Ariana left Julia to her neighbor and quickly got ready. Barely had time to get dressed when the cab arrived. Billy didn't look so good. Dark circles under his eyes, pale, and a scarf around his neck. He put his arm around her and led her by the hand into the room. His studio apartment was 3 times the size of her 1 bedroom, a huge kitchen combined with the living room and a large bedroom all in white. Billy couldn't talk. What did the doctor say? How long will it last? Billy shrugged and answered with just his lips. "Should be back in a week." "That's good." Billy sat Ariana on the sofa in the living room and brought coffee. "It's delicious. Did you brew it yourself?" Billy shook his head. "Coffee machine." With just his lips again, like Julia. Billy really got attached to the girl. He liked to play with her with the doll and act out the tea party. Missed her, upset I didn't bring her with me. Billy nodded. Now he looked like a regular guy, not a star. And that was the kind of Billy she liked, the real Billy. They had coffee. Today it was Ariana who did the talking. She talked about her daughter, about herself, about curiosities with drunken customers at work. Billy moved closer to her and kissed her. She put her arms around his neck. Suddenly, Ariana tensed. She clenched like a spring, slapped Billy on the cheek, and pushed him away with force. He sat up and stared at her, not realizing what he had done wrong. The girl jumped off. Tears were covering her eyes. "Billy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't. I thought I could, but I can't. And she ran for the exit. Billy caught up with her at the door. He took her hand and whispered, "Don't go." Ariana cried and smuggled into his shoulder. Billy put his arms around her and just stroked her head. Then he pulled her into the room. By then the girl had calmed down a bit. He sat her down on the couch and brought her a glass of water. Took a pencil and a piece of paper and wrote, "What's wrong with you? Who hurt you? Tell me." Ariana hesitated to tell him everything, but then she decided, "All right, I'll tell him." Billy sat down beside her and took her hand. She sighed heavily. "We met in college. I was in my 3rd year, and he was a grad student by then. Handsome and rich. We dated. 6 months later, I moved in with him from my college dorm, and everything seemed fine. There was just one thing. He got jealous of me, of everything. Sometimes it got crazy. I'd had a man stop me in the street to ask for directions, and Mickey would make a scene about me making a date with him. I told him several times I'd leave, but he swore and swore he wouldn't do it again." "Did he hit you?" "No, but he yelled like crazy. He was psychologically abusive, and every time I felt guilty. We lived like that for 2 years. I got my degree. Mickey controlled my every move. He didn't want to get married, but he wouldn't let me go. He wouldn't let me get a job either." Ariana sighed heavily and took a sip of water. Billy squeezed her palm reassuringly. "My friend had a wedding. I was invited. Mickey had agreed with great difficulty to go to it." Ariana sighed heavily again. It was obvious that this memory was hard for her. "When we got back, he started yelling that I was flirting with everyone there, that all the males there were my lovers, that sort of thing. He yelled, and then he hit me. He started hitting me. He beat me and raped me and beat me again." Tears flowed from Ariana's eyes in a steady stream. "I woke up in the hospital. He told the doctors that I fell down the stairs. I didn't say anything at first, until I saw myself in the mirror. Then I filed a report against him. He came several times, apologized, asked me to take back the statement." She sighed again and drank some water. "He was convicted. At the trial, he told me that when he got out, I wouldn't live. I didn't feel like checking, so I packed up and came here. I didn't know what to do or where to go. I met a girl. She worked at Leopold's as a dancer. They needed a bartender. She put me up at her place. got me a job. Turned out bartending wasn't so hard. I was getting pretty good at it. Ariana swallowed a lump. After a while, I found out I was pregnant. It was way past my due date. The doctor said that sometimes when you're stressed out, you can miss it. You don't notice the symptoms. I decided to go into labor, and I never doubted the decision for a minute. And Lucy helped me. I worked as long as I could. Then Julia was born. Lucy and I took turns working. I had to make a living too, so I lived with her. Then Lucy met her American boyfriend. She married him, and she offered to let me buy her apartment for half price. I took out a mortgage. Thanks to the director of the club, he helped. I hired Julia a nanny. But one day I came in and the nanny was drunk. Julia was just over 2 years old at the time. That's when I met the neighbor. She's single. Grandma Maria offered to look after Julia. She puts her to bed and comes by to check on her from time to time. Ariana sighed again and wiped the tears from her cheeks with her hand. Billy sat thinking. He couldn't get it all into his head. He thought back to himself. He'd yelled at those girls in his bed more than once, but to beat them up or rape them was unacceptable to him. So those were strangers, and this was a loved one. Poor girl, what she's been through, he thought. Ariana jumped up and wanted to leave. Billy stood up and hugged her, pulled her very tightly against him. "I won't hurt you," he said in a whisper, and Ariana cried again. Billy poured whiskey into her glass and handed it to her. She looked at him and drank it down. A pleasant warmth spread through her body, and she finally calmed down. Billy brought the laptop, and they started watching movies. When one movie was over, he wanted to put something else on. "Billy, do you have any recordings of your songs? I want to listen to them." He nodded. "It's a new music video," he said with just his lips. Ariana watched carefully, listening to the lyrics. "Who writes your songs?" Billy pointed to himself. "You do? No way?" He spread his hands. "Well, I'll tell you, not bad." The guy smiled. "That was nice." They sat for a while longer. Then Ariana started to go home. "Billy, I'm sorry, but I have to go to work. If you want, Julia and I will come over tomorrow." He nodded and hailed a cab for her. Ariana began to visit Billy, when alone, when with Julia. By the end of the week, she found Harry at Billy's. "Who are these lovely ladies?" he asked, kissing Ariana's hand. "Ariana, and this is Julia. And I'm Harry, the producer of this fellow here. Well, I'll leave you to it. Billy, I hope to see you at rehearsal on Monday." Billy nodded. His voice was beginning to come back, but the doctors wouldn't let him talk yet. "What, are you okay?" Billy gave a thumbs up. Then he whispered, "I want you to meet someone." "Who?" Billy put his index finger to his lips. He dressed quickly, and the three of them got into the car. Billy drove them to his mom's house. She was already waiting with the table set, and she even had a present for Julia. "Come on in. Billy's been bugging me about you." "Ariana, come on in." It's practically a family dinner. There was no question that Billy was nervous. He was smiling nervously. He was distracted. But Mom and Ariana hit it off right away, and Julia too. And as they were leaving, Mom whispered to Billy, "Son, take care of her. She's a good girl." "Mom, I know," Billy whispered. He was pleased with his mother's assessment. "And you, Ariana, don't be shy. If you need help, ask for it." And they drove home. "Billy, thank you for this day. But you're not in a hurry, are you?" Billy shook his head. "No rush at all. Uncle Billy, can I call Granny Luda Granny? I like her a lot. I don't think she'd mind." Billy's voice came back. Rehearsals resumed. And now it was no longer Ariana who came to him, but he came to them. And always with flowers and gifts. He didn't rush Ariana. He waited, waiting for her to thaw. Billy continued to woo Ariana. The more they dated, the more the guy changed. He got calmer. He stopped coming to rehearsals drunk, and he rarely drank. He didn't allow too much with the groupies who were always swarming around them. The guys were joking. I think the world had lost another bachelor. Mom, on the contrary, was happy. She was happy to stay with Julia while Billy and Ariana were out on a date. And Julia reciprocated by calling her grandma. Billy became infatuated with Ariana. His songs became more and more romantic. They came out of him like a cornucopia. but at Harry's insistence, they were tightly arranged to fit the band's format. Billy was looking for a ring to propose to Ariana and looking at real estate catalogs. He suddenly wanted to live with his family in a large country house with a pool and access to the woods. He imagined being welcomed home by Ariana and Julia, his mom, and a big dog no smaller than a Labrador. Ariana had thought. She didn't flinch every time Billy touched her, and I think she even fell in love with him. Despite his stardom, he seemed like a normal guy. "Where are we going tonight?" Ariana asked as soon as they got into the car. "Where do you want to go? You look tired." "We shot the video for the new song today. We've been up since 6 in the morning. We reshot every shot 100 times. Harry did this or that. He's a pain in the ass. Why don't we go home, order a pizza and watch a movie? I'd like that." Billy started the car and drove Ariana to his place, ordering his favorite pizza. After giving the delivery man an autograph instead of a tip, Billy sat down next to Ariana on the couch in front of the huge TV. They ate pizza and watched a romantic comedy, and occasionally kissed. Ariana herself put the pizza aside and sat next to Billy and hugged him very tightly. She wanted more for the first time. Billy took the hint. The movie was paused and they moved to the bedroom. Ariana stayed until morning. In the morning, Billy slowly got up, brewed 2 coffees in the coffee machine and put them on a tray. He had always wanted to do that, bring the woman he loved coffee in bed. Ariana drank her coffee sitting up in bed and Billy half lay at her feet, resting on his elbow and admiring her. "Ariana, what? Will you marry me?" Ariana was silent. She hesitated. "I love you and I'm willing to wait if you need time to think." "Yes, give me some time." Billy nodded and reached up to kiss Ariana. At that moment, the phone rang. Billy picked up the phone. "Yes, Harry. No, I'm already awake. In about 2 hours. Yeah, okay. Don't be a dick about it. Bye." "Do you have to go?" Billy smiled guiltily and nodded. "Yeah, to rehearsal. I've got a gig tonight. Harry wants me and the dancers to run through the whole program." Ariana got up, wrapped herself in a sheet, and went to take a shower. Billy drove Ariana and Julia, who had been picked up from her mom, home and went to his rehearsal. Ariana thought about Billy's proposal all day. She had her doubts, and mostly because of Julia. She just needed someone to talk to. So she called her mom. For the first time in a long time. "Did you really remember you have a mother?" "Mom, please don't start. I need your advice." "Well, that's understandable. When you're happy, you don't call." "I can see I shouldn't have called." "Ariana, no offense. What's wrong with you? Why don't you come over? I miss Julia so much, and I haven't seen you in a long time." "I don't know if I can get off work." "So what's going on with you?" "I'm getting married. Did yours show up again?" "No, Mom. It's someone else." "I don't know what to tell you. I'll have to see him." "Is he a good guy?" "He is." "What's bothering you?" "There's a few things." "Well, then we'll definitely have to see him." "And I can't come. Grandpa's not doing well." "Why don't you come?" "I'll try." Billy agreed to go with her right away. "Does that mean you agree?" "Billy, it doesn't mean anything. It just means I need to check with my mom." All right, don't yell at me. We can go on Monday for 3 days." Ariana nodded. And on Monday, after loading the trunk with bags of gifts, they set off to meet Ariana's mom. Billy had never been so nervous. Not even the first time he'd been on stage had he been so scared. What if his mom didn't like him? What then? Would Ariana say no? Julia asked a lot of questions. She didn't remember her grandmother anymore. Besides, the last time Ariana went to see her mom was 2 years ago. "I see you don't go to your mom's house much, do you?" "I have my reasons. She didn't support me then." "Well, then," Billy nodded. He understood what she was talking about. "She said it was my fault and stuff like that. When I told her I was pregnant, she gave me an ultimatum. She didn't even want me to go near her with the baby. It's complicated. And now you want to ask her opinion about me." "Billy, it's hard for me to explain. I guess I just want to rehabilitate her in my eyes." "Have you told her who I am?" "No, and you don't tell her. But she's gonna ask who I am. What am I gonna tell her? I can't lie, and I don't want to. Let's say you're a musician. No details." Billy nodded. It was a long drive. They drove into the village when it was almost dark. Mom came out to meet them at the gate. Greetings, hugs. She took a critical look at Billy from head to toe. And the first thing she did was seat the dear guests at the table. Even Grandpa got up from his bed and leaned on his crutch to sit at the table. The dishes were far from exquisite. Borscht, boiled potatoes, pickled mushrooms and cucumbers, bread, milk in a 3-liter jar. Well, eat up, eat up. We're happy with what we have. Katerina, where's the bottle? Where's the bottle? Daddy, calm down. What bottle? You can barely walk. Grandpa hit the floor with his crutch. Mother waved her hand and put a bottle with a murky liquid on the table, sealed with a rolled-up newspaper. How are you drinking, grandson? Billy shook his head. He wasn't lying now. Since he'd been dating Ariana, he hadn't been drinking at all, except for the champagne he and Ariana sometimes drank together. Come on, let's toast the acquaintance. Have a drink. Billy looked at Ariana confusedly. She was smiling. Dad, why are you getting the boy drunk? You drink your own thermonuclear. Come on, Catherine, shut up. I'm not here to get drunk, but to get acquainted. Well, grandson, don't listen to those women. Let's have one drink. Billy nodded. The grandfather poured half a shot for himself and a full one for him. The boy decided that one drink wouldn't do him any good. He drank it. His breath caught. Tears spilled from his eyes. At first, his insides were on fire. Then heat flowed through his body. What happened next, Billy didn't remember. He was just lost. He woke up the next day in a room on a bed, iron and with shaped headboards, white blanket and white sheets, on the wall a red carpet with curling patterns. There was no hangover and no headache, just a very bad need for sleep. His clothes were lying next to him on a chair, neatly rolled up, and obviously not by him. Billy got up, dressed, and left the room. Voices could be heard. He went to the sound of those voices. The room appeared to be at the back of the house. Ariana, her mom and grandfather were sitting in the kitchen drinking tea. Here came Billy awake. Do you want tea? Ariana jumped up and poured him tea in a large china mug with flowers on the side. The clock above the table showed it was already noon. I didn't bother to wake you. I don't remember going to bed. Ariana smiled. You and your grandfather drank a shot of moonshine. You took a bite, looked at me with glassy eyes and said, Ariana, let's go to bed. I barely got you to bed. You're weak. Summarized Grandpa. Grandpa, you calm down. Your moonshine can bring down an elephant, and the boy's just not used to it. Billy, don't pay any attention to him. It's a good thing you don't drink. I approve. Later, Grandpa hinted that we should fix the roof before the rains come. It's leaking. Billy agreed. He was changed into his grandfather's old army pants, which were tied up with a string, and a Kosovaraka shirt. Grandfather sat downstairs in a chair, and Billy on the roof carried out grandfather's instructions. Ariana, he's younger than you. Aren't you scared? I'm scared, Mom. I'm very scared. He's always got a lot of girls around him, and he's chasing me. Maybe he's chasing you until you say yes, and once you say yes, he's gone. You had what? Ariana nodded. Well, maybe he did fall in love. What about Julia? He's her best friend, and I liked his mom. Such a simple woman. He even introduced you to his mom. Well, Ariana, if you like him, go for it. But just remember, he's younger, handsome, and has a lot of girls around him. Ariana nodded. Billy had gotten a favorable evaluation from both his mother and grandfather. Grandfather had grumbled about Billy's handiwork, but he had praised him afterward, and he hinted that the barn needed a little more work. I had to promise him next time for sure. And the night before we left, my mother had another dinner. She roasted a rooster, cooked some okroshka. Grandpa offered his moonshine again. Billy flatly refused, saying he had to drive tomorrow. Why are we sitting like at a funeral? Hey, Catherine, at least bring my guitar. Grandpa, are you going to sing? What's up? I'll sing. Mom brought an old 7-string. Grandpa strummed something. Billy wrinkled his nose a little at the sound of the badly out-of-tune guitar. Come on, Grandpa, give it to me. Billy picked up the guitar and twisted the strings a little. It didn't moan so much now, and he began to play a beautiful melody. Then he sang. I thought it was all a joke. I thought it was nothing. Your eyes are like forget-me-nots, and your fragrance is intoxicating. How can I not go crazy with your eyes that are bottomless? I'm captivated by your gaze. I'm afraid to admit it to myself. I'm drawn to you, but my senses are closed. I'm afraid to admit it. I'm afraid of losing you forever. Your eyes are like forget-me-nots, and your intoxicating scent. Ariana realized now he was seeing for her and about her. Oh, Billy, even I got a tear out of my eye. Mom said when Billy finished his song. Whose poem is that? Mine. Oh, you're so good. It's such a beautiful song and lyrics too. And you sing good too, not like those guys that are bouncing around on the stage right now. They don't know what they're saying. Billy blushed, lowered his eyes and smiled. In the morning, he and Ariana were leaving. Julia decided to stay with her grandmother. Surely the child would be much better off here than in the city within four walls. Billy didn't rush Ariana with an answer, but he was getting nervous. The first thing he did when he got back to town was to buy Ariana a ring. There was a huge selection, but it was all wrong. After a great deal of jewelry, he finally found what he was looking for, a ring as delicate as Ariana herself. Ariana, meanwhile, was also thinking about Billy. Her mother had told her to go for it. She was ready to do it herself. And that song dedicated to her. She decided to surprise him. She booked a table at a restaurant, took the cab to the place where the band was playing tonight. Harry and the musicians came out. He said goodbye to them and got into his car. The guys were standing there, smoking. Girls ran up to them, took autographs, took pictures with them. Some got into the car with them and drove away. Billy came out. The girls rushed up to him, and he smilingly signed to the girls on calendars, hands, and discs. One of them handed him a marker and took off her shirt, and Billy, smiling calmly, started writing on her breasts. Apparently, he was used to it. Then she whispered in his ear and even put her arms around his neck. Tears sprang from Ariana's eyes, and she got into a cab and drove away. She texted Billy and blocked him. Don't ever call or text me again. Forget I ever existed. It's over between us. Billy was stunned when one of the fangirls took off her shirt in front of him and asked him to sign her chest. Literally. He pretended that everything was fine, and with a nonchalant look, he signed his signature on the girl's skin. She wrapped her arms around his neck without getting dressed and whispered with a huff, "I so want you to sign my ass, and not just with a marker." Billy took her hands and removed them from his neck. Just as quietly, he whispered, "I'm sorry, that's all wonderful, but I have a girlfriend I love, and she's the only one I'm going to sign there." He put his hands up in the air and loudly said the familiar phrase, "Girls, I love you all, and goodbye." The girls squealed, and Billy walked to his car. Just as he put the key in the ignition, a message arrived from Ariana. "Don't ever call or text me again. Forget I ever existed. It's over between us." "I don't get it. It was still on track this morning." Billy dialed Ariana's number. The caller was unavailable. He went to her house. Ariana didn't answer right away. "Why are you here?" "I told you everything." "I want an explanation. What happened? What have I done?" "I was outside the concert hall today. I saw this girl who took off her blouse." "Is that what you mean?" "Ariana, it's no big deal. How many sick girls like that come to our concerts? They wait for us, they hang themselves, and during the concert too. But I don't care about them. I love you. You can't keep saying no for the rest of your life." "Why not? You don't trust me." I don't know. You're young, handsome, successful, and me? I'm just a loser who works in a bar." "Ariana, you're acting like your ex, what's his name right now?" "Mickey. Nothing's happened yet. I haven't given you a single reason to be jealous of me. You're just seeing things. You're getting yourself all worked up. Don't give me that shit." "Billy, no, we're too different. Find someone younger and prettier." "Ariana, I've been waiting a year for you. I've been waiting for you to warm up a little, but my patience isn't unlimited either. It's not my fault. These fans, they'll always be there as long as I sing, as long as I'm popular, and you'll always be jealous of them. I could have chosen any one of them, but I don't need them. I want you. I chose you. Do you understand? You." Not some dyed-in-the-wool girl who'd do anything for an autograph, even strip naked in the middle of town. Billy, don't, please. You asked me to give you an answer? Here, I'm telling you no. That's it, don't. Don't do anything. It's over between us. We're too different. What are you talking about? Different and different. So what? Billy was getting angry, so he started yelling. Ariana was starting to yell too. Billy, that's it. Go away. Find someone else. That's it. You hear me? Why are you standing up? I love someone else. Understand? I don't need you. Go away. And he started to push Billy out the door. He crossed the threshold, threw her a goodbye, stupid, and ran down the stairs. What an idiot. A fool. She could have told him earlier that she had someone else. Billy said to himself as he sat in the car. He sped out of the car. He wanted to kill somebody with a grudge. So he went on a killing spree. There was no one to be faithful to now. In fact, he was doing it for nothing, because as it turned out, he was the only one who was faithful. Billy went back to his old way of life. Every time after a rehearsal or a concert, he took the first female fan he could find and drove her to his place. He drank himself unconscious with her, and every time he saw Ariane in those girls, her eyes he couldn't forget. The more he drank, the worse the pain got. A couple times he wanted to fall asleep and never wake up again. The concert was no longer something special to him. It was his duty. He came, drummed, and left. He didn't even care how he did it. Good or bad, he just did it. Harry was angry. Talking wasn't helping. Oh, Harry, don't yell. You're making my head hurt. Am I there? You're here. Speaking? I'm doing it. What more do you want? I fulfill my part of the contract. You fulfill yours. You realize if you keep this up, you're gonna lose everything. Everything you've been working towards, everything you've been working towards all these years. You haven't written a new song in a long time. I'm having a crisis. You're not in crisis. You're stupid. What a big deal. A girl dumped you. You've got tons of girls. Go out and take anyone you want. You said yourself that you choose like in a store, and every day a different one. I don't want any of them. I don't want any of these pacifiers. There's nothing to talk to him about but sex. Sex and money, that's all they care about. Ariana's not like that. She's special. She likes jazz. She likes poetry, nature. She talks politics and she's very well read. And she doesn't care how much money I have. She needed me. She did. Yes, she did. And now nobody needs me. Billy, my boy, come on, huh? We'll play 2 shows in St. Petersburg and then we'll go on tour. They're waiting for us in Europe. Pull yourself together, huh? You're still years old. You'll meet another Ariana, maybe even better than the last one. And Billy nodded, pouring whiskey into his glass. Harry went to his mother too, but she just wiped his tears with a handkerchief. You think I haven't talked to him, Harry? A million times. I even introduced him to a girl. It's no use. My boy's missing. You know what I'm afraid of? He'll get behind the wheel drunk like that and crash. Have you tried talking to Ariane? Maybe she can get him back to normal. I'd already got fans writing to my official page saying, when will Billy be normal? What's going on with him and if anyone's died? And my mom sighed and tried to talk to Billy again. Ariana burst into tears as soon as the door closed behind Billy. She was sure she was doing the right thing. She didn't know what she was more afraid of. The fact that there were a lot of pretty girls around him and therefore a lot of temptation. Or again, that he was much younger. Maybe not critically, but a lot. And again, she has a daughter. Why put another man's kid on a young guy? That's what her mother told her. No, she's doing the right thing. They can't be together. He'll get over it in no time. There's plenty of girls out there willing to do anything for him. And nobody wants her in her 30s with a baby in her arms. And with a bad experience. Mickey was right. No one wanted her with her crazy ways. Only her heart was just waiting and waiting for something. She even started watching music channels on TV, hoping to see him on the screen. It was more like masochism. But every time she heard Billy's voice, she remembered the song he sang just for her in the kitchen with his guitar. Billy woke up after another concert. His head was like a cast iron bell. It rang with every movement. Some girl was sleeping next to him. He got up and went to the mirror. He didn't look his best right now. And tonight was the press conference and the presentation of the new album. He needed to get in shape. Harry had said he'd skin him alive if Billy didn't look decent, which meant a trip to the barbershop. He took a pill and went into the shower. The cool water brought a little relief, wrapped himself in a towel, and went to wake up his guest. "Hey, get up." The girl stretched and did not hesitate to get up and go to the shower. Her head continued to ache, and the pill didn't give her any relief. Billy looked around his apartment. There were empty bottles, scattered things, chip and condom wrappers everywhere. He'd forgotten the last time he cleaned the place up. And in the midst of all this chaos, his eyes fell on a child's drawing. Julia had slipped it to him as a memento of sorts before she left, and it made his soul ache again. Again, he remembered Ariana's eyes and her beautiful smile, and how he and Julia had sat in a makeshift hut made of plates and chairs. He was really happy then. "I didn't know you had kids." The girl got out of the shower and picked up the drawing. Billy just got mad at that. "Put it down. Don't touch. Get out of here." The girl flapped her eyes and didn't understand anything. She put the drawing back down and started to get dressed. "Have you seen my panties? You're still here?" "WOO. I'm gone. Just give me the money for a cab." Billy stood up, grabbed her arm, and literally dragged her to the door. "Get out." He pulled some crumpled bills out of his pocket and tossed them to her without looking and closed the door. Javi wanted to go back there now, back to that plague shack. Billy was angry with Ariana. She doesn't want to be happy. So be it. I'll be happy. And he cried quietly, just for a few seconds. Then he pulled himself together and started packing. Press conference, the most boring communication with the press, where he and his musicians are asked standard questions and they answer memorized answers. Then the presentation of a new music video, and everyone has to smile and pretend to be happy. And to at least look happy, Billy poured champagne into himself, one glass after another. Long before the end of the evening, he was already pretty drunk again, and he was about to leave. Harry tried to stop him. "Billy, where are you going?" "It's early. I think it's a good time. I'm sick of this. I'd rather go unloading railroad cars." "What are you talking about?" "What I heard. Billy, I'd had enough of your whimsical behavior. I want to remind you that you and I have a 2-year contract. Do you have the money to pay me a penalty?" Billy shook his head. "Well, then get a grip on yourself. So what if a woman left him? You've got a lot of broads. Do you even remember any of them by sight? How many have you dumped?" Billy shook his head again. "Here we go. Come on, son, let's go. I'll take you home later. It's not time yet. It's early." "Yeah, Harry, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some air." Harry went into the building. Billy staggered around for a while, then staggered back to his car. And he didn't care at that moment whether he crashed or not, whether he got stopped or not. He drove to Ariana's house. Her windows were gaping dark. He stood under the windows, holding onto a tree, and shouted, "Ariana, Ariana, come back. I need you. I need you more than ever." But Ariana was at work and didn't see or hear this outrage. After yelling a couple more times, Billy got back behind the wheel and drove home. Someone or something must have been protecting him. Otherwise, how else to explain that he didn't hit anyone or hurt himself on that drunken ride? Ariana got home from work, as usual, in the morning. She had finally been given a whole week off. She was going to go pick up her daughter. But Ariana didn't know what she was going to tell her strict mother and Julia about where Billy had gone. She didn't want to lie, and she didn't want to tell the truth. No, she didn't. Mom would say her catchphrase, "I was right." And maybe she'll say, "Good for you for listening." But Ariana was drawn to him. It was with Billy that she forgot about the past. She felt like a woman for the first time, wanted and loved. Just as she was beginning to drift off to sleep, there was a knock at the door. Ariana wanted to ignore it, but the knocker wouldn't go away. The knocking grew louder and more intense. Who could it be? Thought the girl, throwing him on her robe and heading to open the door. Harry. He was the last person she expected to see in her house. "Ariana, sorry to bother you. May I come in?" And without waiting for an answer, he entered. "Ariana, I won't beat around the bush. I've come for help. I can't stand to watch Billy go down the drain. He's not drying out. He drove drunk last night. And not just drunk, he could barely stand on his feet. By some miracle, he made it home. Didn't hit anybody and didn't hurt myself. He was asleep in the car when I got there. He hasn't written anything new. He says he has no inspiration. I don't know what to do with him. What do you want from me? My girl, please. No, please. Talk to him. Make up with him. Please. I don't know what happened between you, but I know he loves you. You're all he talks about. His gaze is blank, but when he says your name, his eyes light up. I don't know. I don't want to ruin his life. You'll ruin his life if you don't make up. Trust me. He's only good for 6 months, tops. He's already moving around on stage like a robot and singing out of tune. He sounds like a nightingale. And now he's snoring. That's because he's hungover. He misses rehearsals because sometimes he can't get up after he's drunk. Help me before it's too late. Ariana, I love you. He said into the microphone and hugged the girl. I love you too. Ariana said this in his ear, and I will marry you.